live now. We're live. I'm just waiting for you to let me in. All of us, right?
Mhm.
How interested they are that they have property.
Now, hi. Sorry, we're just trying to get the camera so that we can both be in view.
We're not
I
quite
never-
ready for yet.
Remember. Mark's not it.
Just says the meeting host. Oh.
There's not right.
All right, okay, so do you want to just let Heather know?
Heather,
Yes.
Roger, hi.
Hi.
So we'll go through the formal part of the agenda to get you in, and I'll let you in for your presentation.
Wonderful.
That one's on. This one's off.
Well, that one's off.
Let me see.
Sure.
Let me see. No, that one's on. Off.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn this down a bit. All right, turn it down. See how it happens over. Is it better? Okay. Okay, we all set? Carson.
I'm unable to join the meeting.
I wonder
So-
why.
So you'll have to do the number.
Carson was?
What it says, you've been previously removed by.
Might have to put the numbers in. Enter the numbers. Sometimes that works.
Mhm.
Don't feel bad. Meetings at the counties, at 9 o'clock, should be 20 after, before it's one, but getting knocked out.
Mhm.
So you got me blocked.
Oh.
Answering the voice is rejected. You're the host. I've done it 3 times.
And how, so I can see here to invite. I don't know.
Are you using just your screen? Or you use both? That work? Try and get them in.
Mhm. Yeah, I'll keep trying.
I am here anyways.
person, maybe.
It'll work this time.
If he's got these passwords on, should not.
Is your machine muted?
No, it's not.
All right,
Oh, you see. the wicked one.
Okay, thank you for being patient, everyone. So I'll call the meeting to order. And before we get into the business, I just want to remind everyone who's watching that the minutes are available after the next meeting when they're approved by the council. And any questions from the public and or press can be forwarded to the clerk by email after the meeting. The sound might have to be turned off, that iPad. At the top.
Jennifer, I don't know how to operate your system, so. Yeah, fine.
Okay. So we're doing the motions, moved by Margaret Fancy, second by Gail Williams, the council approved the agenda. All in favor? Oh, sorry.
Can we add redesign of the rec committee,
Okay. Restructuring the
restructuring of the rec committee,
rec committee. We do that under committee report.
wherever you like, sir.
Okay.
It's not needed.
So move it by Margaret Fancy, second by Gail Williams, that council approve the agenda as amended. All in favor? I'll look to Richard. Carries. Declaration of interest, pecuniary or otherwise. None. Moved by Gail Williams, second by Margaret Fancy, that the council approve the minutes of the regular meeting and the minutes of the special meeting dated July 13, 2020. Any corrections, deletions, additions? None? All in favor? Carries. Moved by Margaret Fancy, second by Gail Williams, that the council approved the accounts payable report dated July 14, 2020, which includes check number 11497, the accounts payable report dated July 28, 2020, which includes check number 11498, and the accounts payable report dated August 7, 2020, which includes checks 11499 to 11541. Questions on the accounts? Gail?
One asked Marvin about the pressure washer that he bought for $2,796. Do we not already have a pressure washer?
Marvin?
Yes.
Just a second. You went mute. You muted yourself, Marvin.
Our pressure washer is showing its age. We had a chance to buy this pressure washer. It is regular price $4,500, and plus the tax. And we had a chance. It was used twice. We had a chance to purchase it for the amount, and I thought we'd jump at it before. Are we still keeping the other one as a backup, or if the fire department so chooses to use it? We haven't decided yet, but I thought. Plus, it has a steam. It uses hot water and steam to clean the equipment off, especially for wintertime. And I discussed it with all the staff, which is Doug and myself, that it was a really good purchase, and we used the money from the wire account to pay for it.
Okay, thanks, Marvin.
You're welcome.
You know, why are they?
Yeah.
I asked Sherry the same thing today. So.
Okay.
I had was a heritage. I got that question. Any other questions on the accounts? Richard? No?
No.
Okay. So all in favor of receiving those or approving those accounts? Carries. Okay, so now I'd like to welcome Heather Brisebois from the Employment and Education Center. And Heather, you have a guest with you. I'll let you introduce him, and I'll let you make your presentation.
Okay. I'm Ernie Olivo. I'm Bill Chair for Habitat for Humanity Thousand Islands.
Okay, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much. So I just wanted to go through some of the details of the new program that we're offering here at the Employment and Education Center. So the new program is called We Are the Change. And this program has been created to for two reasons. One is to introduce vulnerable youth to the trades, and also to introduce youth and the community to viable options to more affordable housing. So the program that we're running is a grand total of 2 years in length. We'll have 3 different intake sessions. Each intake will have 10 participants per group, and the layout of each cohort will be a length of 30 weeks total. So we'll have 4 weeks in class session, and that's when we'll be going through any formal training that they need. So any fall arrest, WHMIS, working at heights, we'll be going through those certifications. They will all be certified through that. We'll also be going through soft skills solutions training and pre-employment skill training. So writing a resume, preparing for an interview, writing cover letters. That will be the first 4 weeks. Including in that, we'll also be doing an introduction to tools, so that once we go onto a build site, they've already been exposed to some of the different tools that we would be using. After we're in class for 4 weeks, then we move to our build site. We're going to be working in a warehouse and building a tiny home. Over the course of the 10 weeks, the 10 participants will be the ones that facilitate that build. We have an instructor already in place who's a former high school teacher. So he's a great candidate for instructing our group because he has experience working with youth and is also a certified contractor. After our 10-week tiny home build, we come back to the EEC where we do another 4-week in-class session. And that's when we're going to be doing a wrap up of the project. So what are the things that worked? What are the things that didn't work? And we're also going to be going on a speaking tour throughout the community to share, for the youth to share their experience through the program. The program is a paid program, so participants are paid for the entirety of the program. They're paid minimum wage. And then at the end of that 4-week session where the program funding is covering their wages, they then move into a 12-week job placement. So the job placement will be a quality job placement, ensuring that they're being placed in the field of their interest, related directly to the project that we're working on. So the interesting piece with this is that a lot of us were thinking, yeah, it's trades, but in engineering here in Rockville, they are donating in kind all of the plans, drawings, and inspections for the builds of our tiny homes. And we've since realized and learned that BCINs would also be a very lucrative career path for someone to choose that's going through the program that could work with Andrew over at In Engineering. So they'll have that 12-week job placement, and then at that point, they would officially be discharged from the program, and then we would start with our second cohort. Participants, it's for vulnerable youth ages 15 to 30. So it is open to adults. Our youth age range is quite vast. So ages 15 to 30, and it's for anyone living within Leeds and Grenville. So what we've been doing is I've been working with Ernie from Habitat, just partnering together to see what we can do in regards to finding land, because that's essentially what we need for this project to take off, is finding a piece of land that could be donated so that we can then move our tiny homes from the factory warehouse space to that piece of land. The tiny homes will not be built on trailers. They will be built on a foundation. So our ideal scenario would be having a piece of land donated that's already serviced, but we can also look at land that is serviceable. Do you want to jump in?
Our role would be helping to find a donated site. Once we find a site, Habitat would take over the issue of servicing the lot, legal costs, the necessary stuff. We'd also be responsible through our family selection committee to sourcing out the families. One of the nice things about the project that's just sort of sketched out is that the tiny homes will be about 400 square feet, which we know can be set up so that the bedrooms are on the main floor, so they can be accessible and very useful to senior citizens, perhaps to disadvantaged people, handicapped, and so forth. So, and the builder that Heather is negotiating with is our builder. We've used them for years for building houses. And he does a fantastic job. We're very impressed with him. So we're hoping to work in project with Heather's.
So I just want to, I'll ask the first question then, Heather. I just want to confirm that Habitat will look after the septic system and the well, the servicing that piece?
Yeah.
And all legal fees. Okay. Carson.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a great program, but how does somebody go about registering for this program?
How do they register to be a participant in the program?
Yes.
For both the education side and the families?
That's fine.
Well, family selection, Habitat already has a team that takes care of that. So
Okay.
it's our role.
And then for the program itself, all that is required is sending an email to me with the potential candidate's name, email, and phone number. And then and that can come in at any time. And then as we get close, so for instance, for the first cohort, we're starting September 21st. So August 24th will be the first day that I start contacting different referrals, and I will run them through the intake and assessment process. And then if they're successful, they'll join the program. So the intake and assessment process is going to be, I just want to gauge the level of math and literacy that each candidate would have. That's not a make or break. So if there's anything around math and literacy, I am going to have people in the classroom that are available to walk people through those components. And then it's just also ensuring that people are committed to the program because it is a 30-week program. It's very robust. We've been very fortunate where this program really is working with vulnerable youth from beginning to end. Because it's 30 weeks in length, I'm both the coordinator and the facilitator of the program. So I'll be seeing everyone through from beginning to end. We have funding in place so that if someone has a criminal record, we can help them going through that process of, they're not called pardons anymore, and I forget what the new term is, but we would be able to help with that component, as well as any sort of life skills that they might require. We're also building into the last 4 weeks any sort of skills they may need just for moving out on their own, because we recognize a lot of people don't necessarily have those skills. So,
Perfect. Thank you.
So, Margaret,
Just a quick question. Heather, do you need, sorry,
Do you need any help with recruitment?
now you're muted. Mute yourself.
do you need help with recruitment of youth?
so when you ask, do I need help for recruitment? Do I need people to put the word out to get referrals to come in?
Yes.
Always,
Always, okay.
always.
So maybe we can help with that.
That would be great. And that's exactly, so we will definitely be working with Ontario Works to have their clients come over, but also working with probation and parole, Interval House, any sort of community partners that are out there that are interested in the program. I'm absolutely happy to meet with and go through intake and assessment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, if I can add a comment, just a quick comment from Habitat's board. We are actively exploring this partnership with Heather's group. We all know, as everyone around here has suffered from the COVID financially, we have to be able to put it together financially as well. We have finished our latest project in Cardinal. The occupants have moved in. We're scheduled to start another one in Prescott come April next year. We hope we can swing this one in the fall. It hasn't had the final approval from the board, but there's a lot of support there. We're supporting it. I'm behind Heather. I hope it happens.
Richard?
Just want to pick up on something you said a little earlier about the placement of these tiny homes after they're built. Are they designed to go into a rural area?
So what do you mean by, are they designed to go in a rural area?
Well, I mean, we don't have a lot of infrastructure in rural areas, such as sewage. Okay, so we would have, like, for every house that you put in, you'd have to put in a tile bed, because we don't have any connection to city sewer like you would in proximity to Prescott or
Yeah, we have built in rural areas before. Habitat has. We've cleared sites. We put septic systems in. We've drilled the wells. We know roughly what that costs. Ideally, we get a service lot somewhere. We always cross our fingers for that. But we've been there.
All right. So, I mean, if Friend of Young could come up with some property then we could look at the opportunity of putting some tiny houses in front of Young. If you were going to take care of the infrastructure, let's call it that.
The well and the sewer, well and the septic system. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Jennifer and Sherry had spoke about possible. We had one property that's on Highway 2 down there that we could start if we decided to look at that. It's built big enough for.
It's 100 by 100.
Is it a building lot?
So-
We'd have to amend the zoning.
And I'm not sure what all will fit. Like we would need to reach out to the health unit. And
Okay, so Heather, at this point, first of all, there are any other questions? So Heather and Ernie, it's very, very interesting. We want to look at some possible opportunities land-wise, if we can make that happen. There's one in particular that we have in mind, but it may not be large enough. We have to do the usual checks with health unit and our planner and so forth. But from the nods around the table here and across the village, I think we're looking at some some possibilities, some definite possibilities here. When do you have to know when you want to get this going in the fall in your class? We can let you know sooner than later, but it may take a couple, a week or so.
No
Okay,
problem.
keep us in close touch. We have a staff of people who can help out, take a look at it as well when you're ready.
Okay. So I think the general consensus is and Richard, I'm looking at you too, because the others are in the room, but the general consensus is that we're interested.
Okay.
And I think it's, kudos to you guys to come up with this employment opportunities and housing opportunities. There's a definite need for affordable housing. We know that. And I know there's another, I think there's another similar program going on in Kempville. The North Grenville has donated some property recently to Habitat. So
Have something in the works there. It's a much bigger project than that, and it may be quite a while financially, but it's in the wind. But
right.
this we're interested in right now.
Okay, and I think we are too. So let's just see if we can make this work.
Super.
That'd be great.
Thank you very much.
Well, there's no other questions.
No, I think it's a great program.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. And Heather, I know where to find you, and we'll get in touch very, very soon.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thanks so much.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, Chief, I guess you're up.
Hello. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
So July was pretty quiet as far as calls, mostly activated alarms. The one at 3 Miller Drive was actually a fire in the utility room. The pump had broken the seal and shorted out and set some wiring on fire, but it was contained to this a couple of switches in there. The new chassis of the truck is now has been delivered to the factory. I talked to the Rod Harris today. Once the check is sent on to them from tonight, as you saw in my report, they suggested that we put the insurance on the truck because it now becomes ours. If something happens at the factory, then the truck is insured ongoing. So I'll work with Jen to make sure that happens in the next few days. Supplies and PPE are still good. We're still doing our monthly or weekly inventories at the fire marshal's office. Our call volume has been such that we have not really used significant amounts of PPE at all. So we're good there. Still working with the chiefs on the county fire review steering team. They came to the hall 2 weeks ago back in July, asked lots of questions, took all kinds of pictures, took more information from us. I know we've sent them some training information, some bylaws, some assessments of our equipment. So I'm not sure. We had a meeting today with the chiefs, teleconference to discuss that. everybody's in the same place as far as how much information has been shared with that committee right now.
Yeah, Greg, if I may ask, who made the visit? Who visited, and who's on that committee that came to?
The steering committee is made up of the consulting firm, and then there's 3 or 4 CAOs and mayors on it. I'm not sure the total number on that. You know, we had a conference call with the John Hambrams. He seems to be the head of the steering committee. Again, we were displeased with the fact that we weren't involved in any of this, and he basically told us that we don't work for you, we work for the county. So that was about the short and long of it.
Okay, well, that's what I need to know, because it's supposed to be a input, full input from all the departments. Everybody's supposed to be a participant.
Well, we are giving input, but we're not. We had asked a question way back about having some fire chiefs on the steering committee, and they have flatly refused that many times.
Oh,
Can we look into that?
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I don't,
Again, the reasoning was at the last meeting, we had a teleconference with the chiefs and the steering committee. And the reason that we weren't invited to the table was because they told us, we don't work for you, we work for the county. And the county is the one who are doing this consulting, this review, not the fire departments.
okay. Well, I have a problem with that. That's not what was how it's supposed to pan out. So
We've had a problem with that since the beginning, but even every time we brought this up, that's the kind of response that we get.
Okay, thanks. Gail.
so what is the end game of this committee? Why are they going in asking questions, taking pictures? So I have a concern when there's no transparency here as to what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Well, the initial intent was to see if we could pool resources for purchasing, bulk purchase, like equipment, uniforms, bunker gear, anything like that. That's the whole idea. It wasn't to amalgamate services at all. Yeah, so it was to buy, see what kind of, how we could reduce costs.
So why do they secret? I don't understand.
Well,
why
it's not supposed to be a
there's
secret.
so much secrecy.
It's
I have
not.
a concern.
There's not supposed to be. There's not
And-
supposed to be.
Some of the questions they're asking, they're looking for from crisis, our response times, to calls, how long it takes to get to the hall, how long it takes to get to calls. So that's nothing to do with the price of bunker gear.
No.
Exactly.
There's hidden, the chiefs believe there's some other hidden agenda that maybe Andy Brown is dealing with or has other thoughts. So some of the questions or some of the things they're asking for really don't pertain to that, but that's what they're telling us,
Okay.
we're trying to get together, maybe we can do joint training, joint bulk purchasing, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be about. Joint, cost savings.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to have it sent back to the counties that we're not satisfied or appreciate.
Well, they'll hear.
I just want to know that we're not satisfied or appreciate the way our chief is being dealt with by this committee.
We're not answering any more of the questions.
Well,
We are-
All the chiefs, we had a chiefs conference call today, and the chiefs are all feeling the same way. So it's not just me, it's everybody is all, just don't think that we've been given enough information and not sure where this is all headed. Apparently they have a deadline of sometime in late August to prepare a preliminary report, and has to send to the province. And we don't even think we're going to see that preliminary report before anybody else does.
okay. Well, tomorrow morning I'll look into it.
Thank you very much.
That's good. I was just gonna say, and there's should be value added to having the fire chiefs have a.
They're supposed to have input.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For having input.
And the only input we've been given is what they're asking us for. It's not really input. We want this, we want this, we want this. So, Jen sent some bylaws in, we sent some training materials, and we've gone back, and they've asked us to go back and give them 5 years worth of training material. Well, who's going to digest that?
Right.
It's a lot of information. You get 17 departments, and you get 400 firefighters, and they want to see 5 years of training records. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like the sound of it at all.
no. So anyway, we've been working with them, but I mean, right now it's that's where we're at.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I'm sure most of you are aware that the fire chief in Brockville is no longer there. Gislaine contract was not renewed in the end.
Organ and Rockland.
And now the Gananoque fire chief is also gone here. Again, Gislaine talked to us before he left, and he said, it was a 5-year contract, and it ended up being a mutual situation, but the city of Rockville did not pick up his contract for the next 5 years. Nobody seems to know what happened to Steve Therion again, other than he's not there anymore. So we did start doing we're still doing training in 3 platoons over 3 nights. So it gives everybody an opportunity, if you can't make the night that you're supposed to switch out with somebody else and attend. We're still doing our equipment checks as a group. Again, we're doing our testing for temperature checks and asking the standard protocol questions for COVID. And then everybody works in small groups on the trucks. And we are starting to do some more training on our DZ. We have 5 people who are trying to get their license by the fall. And you can see in my report the information that they need to get working on so that when the testing person comes, Al Narcan, they can be prepared.
Okay.
We had no issues with any equipment during July. You can see the hours to date. There have been a few more handed in since then, but they're pretty, it's within 5% of what is on there now. And for fire prevention, you can see we did the group home inspections back in July, Richard and I, and Jen, we did both inspections. And Richard has a meeting with the en route people to discuss fire lanes and signage down there because it's still an issue with trucks blocking the fire lanes.
Okay, any other questions other than the problem area? Okay, no, that's good. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll get back to you as soon as I can, as soon as I hear from somebody about that other.
All right, so just if you want to just quick discuss Saturday, we did receive a call from 5 Quabbin Road saying that there was a burning complaint. I did attend with a couple of firefighters, talked to the individual at 3 Quabbin Road. There was a small campfire going, about 2 foot in diameter. At that point in time, the smoke was kind of drifting back towards the school. The complainant did say that at one point in time, the smoke was across their yard. There was not a lot of smoke that I could see. The complainant asked me what happens if it happens again. I said, well, I guess you can call 911, and 5 minutes later, they did. And so we went back there and discussed that, we can't control the wind. And I don't think she was happy with that response, but it was, there was a permit for the campfire in process. It was a small fire. It was not producing a lot of smoke, but it was producing smoke.
Okay, I think if we get into more detail with this, we'll have to go in camera, and that's
right.
And that,
I'm just giving you that rough. I didn't say any names.
Yep.
I just
that's good. Summary's good.
The individual was told if they thought necessary to call 911 again, so they did. And calling 911 is a normal way that we have residents make a complaint. They can't call the fire hall. There's not anybody there. They can't always call the township office. So that's a normal thing. If you have a burning complaint, to call 911.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Marvin, you had a question?
Yeah, Greg, the community center wants to move the Chubb box from its current location, which is on the sign, which is out in front of the community center. Do you want me to go ahead and move that to a particular location?
No, you can put anywhere that's going to be secured as long as we know we can update our records.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay.
So that other issue, then we will have more discussion on that over the next few weeks and see how we resolve that. But you're right, 911 is a process.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Any other, Greg? No. Richard? No. All right.
No.
Thanks, Chief.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Good night.
Night.
So moved by Gail Williams, second by Mark Fancy, that council accept the fire chief report. All in favor? Richard, you in favor? Yes. Carries. Okay, Marvin. You're up.
Okay. Just an update on the Marsh Road. It had started this morning. As of writing it, when I wrote the report last week, the exact date was unknown. They decided Friday afternoon that they were coming Monday. So we had started, we've got almost 2 layers of surface treatment on the road, and part of it's fog sprayed. We had to quit because the skies turned awful dark and they were afraid. So they're gonna finish the road tomorrow morning. And by the looks of it, we are for sure under budget on the Tackaberry portion. And I think we're gonna be under budget on the Miller paving portion. So thankfully, I think we're gonna be under budget on that project.
That's good, because there's a few that well, barely went over budget on the other, like some of the other roads, but that's good if you can save some of that on that project. It's good.
Mhm.
Okay. Number 5, you got the signs up. Are they painted yet? The posts on Parkway?
On the number 2, no, we weren't going to paint them.
No, the posts on the Parkway. The front of Young sign.
We weren't gonna paint the posts for the township sign. No. Paint them white. Is that what you wanted to paint them white?
The rest are painted white, right? They need to be white.
They need to be white. Okay, it just takes a lot of manpower to every few years go and paint them white again. So just lacking of manpower.
The others are all white, so we need to be white.
Okay, or I can change them all to brown.
No, there's white, the blue and white. Okay, Carson.
I can change it to pressure treated brown. That's a good color.
No.
At the last meeting, when we talked about these signs, we also talked about the Kane Town sign. And when is it going back up?
Whenever we have time.
All right. You rented a boom. I sent. You got a copy of that weed?
Yes, I got it.
Okay.
Yes, I got it. I'm well aware of the weed killer. I know it's a salt-based killer or a weed killer. It's different from what they've used in the past. I know Rideau Lakes right now is trying to ban it, ban the roadside spraying. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just a rumor mill I've heard. I've also contacted my contact at the counties. I don't think they've started this year. I might have them go ahead and do it because there's still money in the budget for that. Just to get it done. Just when I initially made this more aggressive mowing, there was Reggie and Doug and myself. And now that there's just Doug and myself, it's kind of hard to do, and it's hard to do everything at once. We're getting.
Sorry, let me fill you in on that. So yes, Rideau Lakes
Sure.
brought it up about the banning of the spray, and that's why you have that report, because they asked for the report. So you can see that the report shows that aggressive mowing doesn't necessarily kill the wild parsnip. It spreads the seed. Mm-hmm. The health unit has approved the spray that they're using. That what do you call that? Not pesticide, the herbicide. That health unit, Dr. Stewart has approved it. The spraying itself is probably 10 times cheaper than mowing, and is more effective. So the counties is going to do another report, but at this time it's only Rideau Lakes that's opposing the spray. And when you get a chance to look at the report, and if you're going to mow, for our own benefit, perhaps keep a record of how many hours you spend mowing and how much the cost is to rent that mower, and versus the $2,500 that we have in our budget for spraying. Okay, just for our own thing, for our own records.
Now, with the more aggressive mowing, that was supposed to kill 2 birds in one stone, because obviously we have to mow anyhow. Number 2, yes, the mowers do spread the seed, but that's only when you have like a giant backwind. When I worked for the MTO, we had a massive 18-foot batwing mower on the back, and that whole deck used to be just covered with parsnip seed, just loaded with thousands of them. So every time you transport that mower from one place to another, of course, it transport the seeds. Us with having the low sickle bar, it really doesn't, it just cuts them and lays them down. Well, on the other fact, that little Sicker bar and the mower that we do have only cut like an 8-foot section, and it really doesn't leave the road. Now the boom mower was supposed to, look after. We usually had Tormac or Tackyberry come in and do the boom mowing with that big machine of theirs. So that was supposed to do both things. I rented a different machine this year. It's more like a flail mower. Dougie's already used it at the landfill today. Spent time out there getting himself accustomed to it. Nobody out there, just to make sure everything's running okay. So we'll try to get those hard to reach places. Like I said, I've contacted my friend at the counties, and he's going to get me the number for the gentleman that sprays tomorrow, because I don't think they've sprayed anywhere yet. So I'm going to see if we can get on the list, because it's definitely spreading throughout the township. I know it doesn't cover private property and that sort of thing. And like you said, if people elect to not have it sprayed because of either they have bees or honeybees or something else, they can for surely post the signs up there. But I think you're right, Roger. Just for the public safety, and we do our part as a township to try to get this poison parsnip under control. And for the safety, I always complain about the safety of the fire department on the 401, because it was one big mass of poison parsnip out there. And it's not so bad once it's cut down and dried out, but yeah, the sap is really bad.
Yeah, when you guys get rolling around the ditch, it's not fun. Carson, you gotta.
No, it's distant.
Around the township property and the little park that used to be there, that township owns, that needs to be sprayed. It is severely covered.
Yeah.
With all parsnip.
Okay.
Kingtown's a bad road for it.
So the Kingtown area is especially bad. So you can you can particularly look at that area, but as well as the other parts of the township. But the Kingtown area is bad. Margaret had a quick.
Yeah, I have a couple, just in terms of the wild parsnip. Did I hear you say that you had looked
You're
at-
muted.
Oh.
No, I can still hear. I can still hear quite well.
It's okay.
It's even better.
Okay.
Yeah, then we don't get the feedback. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we had some complaints about the wild parsnip at the waste disposal site. Did I just hear you say that you looked after that today? Or it's been?
Yeah, Doug was there with the boom mower, and now there's no real places where people go that the parsnip is. I had Bryson out there this morning whippersnipping around the bins and around the stairs. There was no parsnip there, and there's no parsnip around the bins and where the garbage is. But Doug was out there with the boom mower today, and he cut all that back. Now I didn't see how far he cut thing back. I just seen him briefly today because I was spending most of the day out on Marsh Road. But I'll take a look again.
Okay.
Yeah, so where the report came from, Marvin, is down when you're going down to the brush pile and to the compost area, that back area. The wild parsnip was apparently coming out towards the road area.
Yeah.
So that's where the concern that was brought to the environmental committee.
I've never seen any other than where the landfill site is. So, and I've never seen any around where the compost pile is. I've never seen any around where the construction pile is at all, ever.
Okay, so you'll double check that.
Just check it.
Gail?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I
for
was
sure.
there a couple of weeks ago, Marvin, and we went down and dropped stuff off at the construction site. And then when you come around that corner where the compost is, it's bad right there, and it was leaning over the road. And so that's where it was the worst, and there was a lot of it there.
Okay, so you had Bryson in there today. You can double
Yeah,
check.
I'll double check for. Oh, for
John?
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's that piece. Oh, Mark,
Oh, I
Oh,
you're finished that. If you had.
I just had one other one was the community center, the HVAC. Was that a repair or replacement, or was it pre-budgeted or what?
It was the kind of water condenser collector, little pump that's at the bottom of the air conditioning unit, that pumps the air,
Okay.
the water from the air conditioning. It pumps it up through a little tube and into that's what went is that little box down there.
Shouldn't that be under warranty? We just put that in.
I can ask Dan if it is under warranty because I had to call him in because it was completely wired in there. So he had to strip all the wiring, wire it all up, but I can ask Dan if it was covered under warranty.
Well, they just put that system in last fall, and where
Yeah.
it should Warranty.
Margaret, you had another?
Mine was under landfill, just number 2, the e-waste recycling. I know that that has become quite a problem, and we've asked Jen D to put some information in the newsletter. There'll be something on the website. Just wondering if you're checking back with the staff just to make sure that they're monitoring that e-waste bin regularly, because it does seem to be an ongoing issue.
I checked it this morning while I was out there before I went out to Marsh Road, and it was just TVs and radios, that sort of thing that's supposed to be in there. Doug and I went through it last week, spent about an hour digging through fans, taking fans out and all the things that weren't supposed to be in there. So we dug through all that. I did send that same email, I forwarded to the email to Wayne for him to talk to the staff there. He said he was going to, and that he did receive the email. So he had received all the pictures that came with it, and as well as the do's and don'ts. And as well, the sign was posted out there. I noticed that as well today, what is allowed and what's not allowed. So he's well aware of what's allowed and what's not allowed into it. And like I said, when I checked it this morning, first thing, there was nothing in there that wasn't supposed to be in there. That's the only downside, is that they've had to take the whole load and treat it as contaminant the last time, and basically it all gets trashed. So they don't have the manpower either, or the time, or to sort through it all, which they technically they could have, like the plastics and all that sort of stuff, and the recycling can be done, but she told me that they didn't have the manpower for that.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's got to be kind of a two prongs. We've got to do lots of public awareness, but we've also got to really monitor.
Yes.
Staff is monitoring.
Yes, we really do have to monitor it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carson.
Okay, thanks.
Waste disposal site, I think we need to maybe send a reminder to the guys that are working out there that socialization needs to be a minimum. I know they have to be polite and be there, but make sure that we're not getting caught on conversations and missing what's being done.
Okay. Yeah, they do have a job to do.
Yeah, well, and I've been up there a couple times, and there's some times where the guys are standing socializing and not seeing all what's going on. And I've had to ask for a rate to push stuff back in the bins and that, so we can get it in. So.
Okay, so the deal.
I just have a question. Marvin, is the Maritime Station, is it closed on the weekends?
Not anymore. It had been closed. It was Monday to Friday. But we opened it up. It's a quick call. I did that on Friday. I changed the signage as well. It's open Monday to Friday throughout the whole week, 7 days a week.
Okay, because that question came up at our coach house meeting the other night, so I wanted to make sure that it was open on the weekend, because there's been, cyclists and stuff through, and it's been closed. But if it's open, that's wonderful. One more question.
Yes.
Have you purchased the new plow for the Kubota for the sidewalk plowing this winter yet?
No, that was one thing I was thinking about when so either we are going to continue to plow the streets, and no, I haven't continued to, because I couldn't find anything that was that narrow that fit our Kubota, unless we wanted to go to a specialized piece of equipment, and unless we wanted to modify what we did get from, and I didn't want to purchase anything at that dollar figure from Kubota to fit on there, and then it not suit our needs, I guess. And we're stuck with a piece of equipment that's been modified that we can't use. So it's something that I don't know if you guys want to discuss, or it had been discussed, and I can't remember where it left off there back in the spring. If the homeowner,
The decision was made.
sorry,
Plow, and I want to know whether or not we can plow with what we've got.
Yeah, we decided we were going to plow it. That decision's been made. So that piece is out of the way.
Okay.
So how do we do it? How do we do it with the equipment we have, and what attachments do we make that happen? The decision's already made to plow it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Seatbelts to be worn.
So you can follow up and make sure we have the proper attachments for the equipment that we have, right? Because we said we'd hold on to the main tractor.
Yeah.
that was the presentation that we were given, that the main tractor can do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
The little
follow-
tractor can do the work. It's one of the few tractors that are out there that is narrow enough to do the work. And it was just being able to attach the V plow on the front of it, like they were asking, with the trip blades on it, that is going to be able to fit. But I couldn't get a guarantee unless I actually asked them to order it, for them to come in to actually measure it to see if actually it'll fit or not. I can see if they'll order it in, but I don't know if they're going to order it in without a promise from us that we're going to purchase it.
Well, if that particular dealer doesn't want to do that, then there are other Kubota dealers in the area that might do that for
Okay.
you.
We can't say
Okay.
whether or not we'll go ahead with it until we know the cost.
Yeah.
So we gotta get it measured and get a cost so we can make a decision.
We do have costs. The cost I did present to council back, I forget when. I do have the costing for all that back from the spring. I do have the invoices and the approximate cost for those.
Okay,
Right, at that time, we said to go ahead.
Because I thought it was $5,000 or something, 7,000.
you want to dig it
I
up
think
for us?
so.
Dig it up for us and refresh our memory, please.
Because if they can do it for that.
Yeah.
That's
You
cheaper
get it
than
done.
buying a whole new unit.
Okay, the action list. So number 6, 10, and 12 are completed. I want to talk about number 8 for a bit.
Yes.
So it looks as though we don't have a contractor to do that stretch. of road.
No, it doesn't look like it. I don't think Mr. Avery will be able to procure insurance to be able to do that. I've talked to other contractors. What they've done in the past is that either the township or the MTO have taken on the insurance and they've become a rider on that. But that's something I have no idea about. That's just something I've been told.
So we're back to square one then. And without a contractor, we're back to our guys and our trucks doing the job.
3 guys, 3 trucks.
Trouble is, when our trucks go down, they're down. When a contractor's
All
truck,
the money we put into the last winter, they should be fine.
well, I hope so, but I tend to believe that we're going in reverse. So we'll just monitor this winter. I think we're gonna have problems trying to keep up, but hopefully not. Maybe,
All we
I
can
hope
do
I'm
is
wrong.
our best. All we can do.
Because, when we have a contractor, if the equipment goes down, there's another one there in a half an hour. When our trucks go down, they're not there for a couple
Didn't they
days.
tell us though in the spring they couldn't do it?
Was that, Gail?
Didn't they tell us in the spring though they couldn't do it for us this winter?
They didn't want that. They wasn't worth their while doing that short strip. They to go back 2 years ago when they had the bigger strip,
Yeah, okay.
which would make it more worth their while and probably better for us. Marvin, go ahead. Did you have
It's just it's just something to think about. It's either we go back to doing it all ourselves, get Tackerberry to do the north end, either sell all the trucks, get the new one, or the one truck is 12 years old, the other one's 10 years old. It just minimum maintenance standard says 10, but these trucks are limited, very slow kilometers. That red truck has probably almost had everything replaced on it. But there's no guarantee that something won't happen. Like Roger said, it's, something breaks down to them, one of them go in the ditch. It's like, nope, go ahead, you call, get another one in there. That's the only nicest thing, is that the headache isn't there, right? Of getting it in, getting it fixed. Look at what happened to the red truck. It was gone almost 2 weeks. And, the Perth. So
Give it a
local
shot.
companies didn't want to fix it out there, so.
We're back where we were 3 years ago, so we'll give it our best shot this winter and see what happens. Because
Yeah, because it's hard getting people to do the snowplow, so
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
so be prepared for
Yeah,
complaints.
well, you said you just-
Okay.
what are you doing?
Anything else? No? Richard, you're pretty quiet there. You okay? I didn't miss your hand or anything?
No, well, I didn't want to spend too much time on it, but I'm curious about these wasps in the playground. You get rid of them just by tilling?
No, we hired a contractor to come out, St. Lawrence, what's St. Lawrence's name? I think it's in my report, under park. St. Lawrence Humane Wildlife and Pest Control. They were called because of the number of them. The sand was just loaded with them. Now, when I was there with him for over an hour. He said because of the dry weather this year, and basically it was the dry weather this year. So what he suggested, and right after that we got the rain. What he suggested is let that sit for 24 hours, till it again, which we did. And then if we don't get any rain, he suggested that watering it down. So either with the tanker from the fire department, we could spray it down and water the sand down. And he said that would work, or we could put the water tank on one of our trucks and pump it off. So that seemed to work. It's the same wasps that were last year by one of our residents that live on the corner of Pearl and Quabbin that he had in the shoulder, and that we dealt with it then. But this was the magnitude of them were just unbelievable. And I know that I looked up the history on them. I know but he couldn't guarantee that they wouldn't bite anybody at all. I couldn't guarantee 100%, like Roger said, yeah, but somebody that's allergic and happens to get bit, so anyhow, so they were brought in and everything got sprayed. The holes all got sprayed. They used a special spray that didn't have a residue. We closed the park off. We put the signs up. We taped it off and let it sit for 24 hours and then tilled it up. And that seemed to got rid of them. I do have a picture on my phone of them. They're kind of quite big with a little red body, and they're quite interesting. They were right beside the township office as well, burrowing in right beside the township office.
So I'm just double checking that there's no residue that could harm kids.
No, he used a special, that's why I brought him in. He uses a special spray especially for that. I didn't want to deal with it because I think it was very far above my what you're able to buy at TSC or Home Depot or Richie's or any of those kind of places. He uses a special kind that doesn't produce a residue, or doesn't leave a residue. The residue is gone within 20 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good.
You're welcome.
Anything else? No?
Nope.
Okay, thanks, Marvin.
Thanks, Marvin.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So moved by Gail Williams, second by Margaret Fancy, the council accept the Public Works Superintendent's report and action plan. All in favor? Carries. Okay, thanks. Good night, Marvin.
Good night.
Excuse me. Jennifer.
Does anyone have any questions on this large report?
She delegates. She's
Oh,
good
that's
at it.
what it is. She figured that out.
Good for you, Jen.
Oh, we didn't ask Marvin to bring up number 7. So we have a new Public Works employee,
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Jenkins. Forgot to ask him to bring that up. He could have.
I think he'll do well here.
I hope so, yeah. He interviewed well, didn't he, Gail?
Did great interview,
Did
yeah.
great interview.
Likeable, really likable.
Train whistles. I think it's time I have to call CN again because obviously the counties is not listening again. My guess is that they're waiting to get the new Public Works superintendent on board because the current one retires this month. That'll be their next, I don't want to call it excuse, but issue.
Can I ask one question? While we're waiting for them to get rid of the train whistles, is there any way we can talk to CN about the length of the whistles? I mean, sometimes they'll go through, Richard must hear them down at the camp. They'll do it once and that's it. One morning at 2 in the morning, woke me up 8 times. It blew that whistle going through here. I mean, I think that's a bit extreme at, 2 o'clock in the morning. And instead of saying it's either 1 or 4 or 3 or 5 or 8.
Well, I hear them at 4 myself, 4 o'clock.
It's ridiculous.
Richard, did you have your hand up or?
No, I mean, I've asked that question too, and I got the BS answer, which was, these things are programmed.
No,
The horns are all tooted programmed. Yeah, just programmed. So,
Okay, I'll connect with our friend from CN, or Jennifer.
While you're connecting with CN counties, they need to do something with County Road 5.
I know,
got
that's,
worse.
Oh my.
it's been brought up a number of times, especially by our neighbor, Lisa Thasna. And really, the last meeting, she was very adamant that nothing's being done with the crossing.
This one down here has gotten a lot worse in the last month.
I was over to Young's yesterday, and then a couple days ago. Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
I know the sign says you can do 40, but you're crazy.
you can't do 40. You crawl over it.
You can tell people to travel at regular.
Yeah, because we're slowing down.
Oh, less than that, yeah.
So Jen, can you
Yep,
touch
I
base with
can.
that CN guy and say, what are you hearing from the counties? Because we heard nothing.
Definitely.
Thanks.
And then item 3 on the action plan. So it looks like it's basically the property acquisition is in the final stages. The paperwork just needs to be signed and then everything's done.
Okay, it's been in those final stages for how many months now? Enough
4
already.
years. Yes. But that's the last email we
But-
got from the public works superintendent
Yes, I confirmed that
last week.
the legal description matches what it's supposed, so it should be done.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else on Jen's report? No? Okay, moved by Margaret Fancy, second by Gail Williams, that council accept the clerk's report and action plan. All in favor? Carries. Moved by Margaret Fancy, second by Gail Williams, that council accept the chief building official report. Questions? All in favor? Committee reports, moved by Gail Williams, second by Margaret Fancy, that the Environmental Advisory Committee meeting minutes dated July 2, 2020 be received. Comments, questions, none? All in favor? Carried. Caught up here. Track. Oh. Okay. And the new addition to the minutes, restructuring of the rec committee.
Yes, following policies and procedures set up by council, we have a committee member that is not making meetings and not.
excuse me, I can't hear you, Carson.
Sorry, following.
Carson, I can't.
Okay,
I don't have on mute.
you're on mute. You're mute.
She mute. That's not mute.
Sec. Okay, there you go.
Okay, so
Turn yours off.
can you hear me now, Richard?
Perfect now.
Okay, so following policies and procedures set up by council, we have done the process that's set out for members who are attending meetings or not making meetings. Due to the fact of trying to make sure that we have our appropriate numbers, we have a member who has not made a meeting or responded in over a year. So the chair has done his process and have gone and had discussions. So we'd like to do a restructuring of that committee to take one member off.
Did you get that, Richard? Okay.
Yeah, I heard.
You heard it okay then?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah.
All right, so we'll leave it with the recreation committee to make that recommendation and bring it back.
The only reason I brought it here is because council's the ones that accepts members on the committee, right? Isn't
Okay.
it council that needs to take the member off the committee?
Yeah.
I think based on the recommendation.
So the
from
recreation
committee.
committee already had their meeting.
So your recommendation is
So
remove
this
that.
is- we
Okay,
are
so,
recommending that this be
so then we have a motion. We don't have a motion, do we? Do we need one motion for that? To accept the recommendation of the recreation committee. Right. So Richard, will you move that the council accept the recommendation of the rec committee?
I will.
Carson, you second it?
I'll second it.
Gail? Oops. Oh, you can't spell appointments. There we go. Okay. Moved by Richard Marcoux, second by Gail Williams, that council accept the recommendations of the rec committee regarding the restructuring of its membership / appointments. Okay. Okay, all in favor? Carries. Okay, draft bylaw regulating the keeping of poultry. Jen, do you want to walk us through this? Or maybe just a quick summary and then we'll ask questions or comments?
Sure, yes. So staff developed this bylaw mainly based on the city of Kingston's. And it outlines such stipulations as minimum lot sizes, setbacks from rear and side lot lines, setbacks from schools, churches, and commercial businesses, annual licensing requirements. There might be some questions surrounding those key points. Otherwise, it's pretty similar to just the keeping and regulating of dogs, really, with in terms of the permit requirements and annual fees.
Okay, so there's other pieces you have to look into, right? The health unit's got to be asked for their information.
Yes.
And the risk management, that's Marvin.
Yes. Marvin and I have to sit down and determine what sort of setbacks the Safe Drinking Waters Act is going to impose on this because of the Miller Manor wellhead.
Does it just affect Miller Manor wellhead?
At the whole circle.
Yeah.
It would affect anyone with well.
Well, in particular, the risk of the Miller Manor thing that goes to circle will be part of the store parking lot, some of these other residents in that area. So I think it's good that we get all the information from the health unit and everybody, so we do a thorough piece before we go to the residents and then say, okay, here's our plan. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I do have a couple of questions though. Jennifer, how much is 0.2 hectares?
Half an acre.
And the other thing is, I know it's kind of silly, but it should say here somewhere that there's no roosters. Because if it doesn't say it in the bylaw, somebody's going to get a rooster because it doesn't say you can't have one. And the other thing that the people across the road asked us was about those quackless ducks. Are we going to allow other fowl on property or just chickens?
That's a good question. That was the question I had too. Yeah.
Because if someone has only half an acre and they've got like 6 ducks, 6 hens, could get messy.
And I think it's important to note that just because we've got this bylaw in front of us doesn't mean that we've approved it. It's just,
Well,
we're
just talking through it.
the base to work with.
Well done, Jennifer. That's very well done.
But add those two pieces. It'd be great place. Carson.
Well, I have a problem with the half acre because I feel that's too large to be requesting people to have. I do believe that the gentleman who brought in the request has a half acre, and I've seen where his is set, and his is not interfering with anybody at all. So to go a half acre, which is not much, he's just short of having that, right? And we knew that before we did this bylaw. So I have a problem with that process that we were approached to set a bylaw by people, and our bylaw automatically comes out and eliminates them. So I'd like to look at the size,
Sure.
please.
What other, well, that's,
Can
okay.
we do it on a buy, application? So if someone comes in and they've got 0.04 acres, but their property is set up so that it's not gonna interfere with any setbacks, or it's not gonna, violate anything else.
Then I think we open up- Then we open up to everybody.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah,
asking.
I think, right, everybody would say, well, Mike, I have a petition here.
You have to do it on a one-by-one basis.
Well-
You're right.
The other thing I had was, it was around wells. If we strictly go by Kingston, Kingston's not worrying about wells at all.
No.
So we need to make sure that the health unit is looking at that aspect when they do come in. We've done setbacks from the property lines and everything else, but you need, everybody's well is in different areas on their property. So
Definitely.
I'd like to have the health unit input on that.
And the thing with this bylaw is it will then prompt an update or an amendment to our zoning bylaw. Because currently, any livestock, agricultural use is a minimum of 5 acres in the.
Yes,
in the
that's why I'm
rural zone.
okay with the half acre.
Mhm.
Yes, yeah, I'm good with that.
The other
I
thing,
understand.
is we're sending, once this is done, should we not send this off to our bylaw enforcement officer to have a look at
Yes.
for feasibility?
Yeah, because of that farming piece
I
up,
know.
because that 5 acre thing, we're really, we're going 10 times less than that by a half an acre, so I'm good with the half acre piece, but anyway, we need to gather more information on it, but this is a good start.
It is a good start. Thanks
Yeah,
for
well done, Jim.
What other- Excuse me. Okay, that's the only question I had was the circulation piece. Just get my water here. Okay, so that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna add those 2 pieces. We're gonna get the report from the health unit and risk management. And then we come back again after they report, right?
Yes,
Okay,
Now, do we talk bylaw now or after?
I'll talk to her now.
Yeah.
excuse me.
Check with Gananoque.
They
They
just want Kingston.
But they don't have wells.
I know they don't, but I'm just saying they're
But
dealing with the same issue.
But that's why we went to Kingston, because Gananoque is using Kingston's. They're using Kingston's
And
rules.
it's totally different when you've got water and sewer than when you got wells and septic.
The only difference between this one and Gananoque is they're putting an 18-month trial period on it.
Yeah.
So what do you do with the birds after 18 months? That's not very nice.
Well, you have chicken for a week. I don't know.
Okay, so so that trial period doesn't really work. Okay, Richard, again, I don't want to miss your hand. Did you have any comments or questions on that? No?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
I agree. It definitely needs some more work.
Yep. And then it'll go to the people in the village to see what they think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. St. Paul's Church designation request. Where are we here? Jennifer, talk to us.
Well, we went back to Mr. Morrison with regards to this request, and he reiterated that there are no concerns with grants, that they're able to get grants just fine on their own, that this has everything to do with just the aging congregation and just the future of the church.
And again, at the last meeting, I asked if we could get what it was gonna cost the township to reverse this decision.
It would just be the advertising costs for the local newspaper, and it could, depending on the requirements through the Heritage Trust, it could be 100, it could be 300, but it shouldn't need to be a very large ad.
I did talk to John Cowan about that because he's a part of this. He said they will cover any costs. That it's not good, there's no cost to the township.
They just don't want the church anymore, right?
Well, what they're afraid of is what's gonna happen is that it's just gonna fall down because it hasn't been maintained, and they wanna make sure that, it lasts.
Well, I mean, if we wanted to get it fixed, to stand up, then maybe they'll get grants, but when I asked Bob about grants, he said, no, they don't want to go there.
And if they want to sell it eventually, then it would have to be,
Yeah,
in shape in order to get, know, a good dollar at it too.
I
Just
just- I
make it
just-
easier for them.
Hate to give up heritage pieces, but it is what it is, I guess. Okay, so we're gonna go through that then, go through it. Right, okay,
Oh, I can have that ready. If not the next meeting.
by the end of
then-
September,
Yeah.
okay.
Thanks, Jennifer.
New business. Moved by Margaret Fancy, second by Gail Williams, the council accept with regret Nancy Warner's resignation from the Young and Bloom Committee.
Big regrets.
Yeah.
Gonna be so missed.
Yeah. It's gonna be missed in a lot of
A lot of ways,
areas,
yeah.
Your letter or something we sent as a thank you.
I was gonna suggest that she's, and well, both she and her husband have
Yeah.
been so involved in this community in a wide variety
Many
of ways.
ways.
It would be great.
Gift certificate or something.
We don't want to start that.
But a thank you note just
Yeah.
for the leadership.
Yeah.
There are many contributions to our community.
On behalf of council. Okay, accept, all in favor? Carries. Next is a noise bylaw exemption request from Happy Green Acres Campground. Oh, I didn't do the appointment, I'm sorry. I missed that one. So moved by Gail Williams, and second by Mark Fancy, the council appoint Katie Obermeyer and Carol Duke to the Young and Bloom Committee.
I don't know, I've met them yet, we haven't met, so I'm gonna meet them hopefully on the 20th.
Okay, so we have two new members.
They're very good, they're very active members.
Good. All right, so all in favor of the appointment? Carries. Hope I pronounced that Katie. It's Acadia,
Yeah.
so it must be Katie. Okay, moved by Gail, before we discuss it, moved by Gail Williams, second by Carson Massey, the council grant a noise bylaw exemption to Happy Green Acres Campground, 2 Green Acres Road from 2 p.m. till 10 p.m. for the following festivals: Country Music Weekend, August 13 to 16, and Rock and Roll Weekend, August 20 to 22, 2020, as outlined in the attached request. And there are a couple of emails here. So Jennifer, you want to just quickly?
I did speak with the health unit just to see if there were any concerns or if they had any questions. As Mr. Ward stated that he was in close contact with the health unit. It isn't something that the health unit would approve or not approve, but they said based on the information he's provided to us that this is exactly what they would be recommending, how he's operating these events. So they don't have any concerns with that.
So these campgrounds can be sold out for the whole weekend, like every campsite.
I believe campgrounds can run at full capacity.
Is that true, Richard?
Yeah, it's just the things like the swimming pools and so forth. You can't run those at capacity. Like mine's at 25%. But I mean, I can fill every site.
Okay, that's what
No.
my concern was, but
Okay.
thanks, Richard.
Any other questions? All in favor? Carries. Moved by Carson Massey, second by Gail Williams, the council recommends severance application B64-20 Turner. Jennifer.
So this is a quite a unique severance request. So back in the 90s, I believe, this property was subject to a severance, which granted a 66-foot frontage on the property that's identified on this mapping, the west side of the parent parcel. And at that time, I believe that the applicants thought that that was going to be treated as a legal right of way, as a point of entry for both the property designated as parcel A on this mapping, as well as the Riggs parcel on this mapping. However, when it was all said and done, that is not what ended up happening. And this little strip on the front that's highlighted in yellow when you're mapping was actually treated. Oh, it's not in color.
It is on the,
Oh,
On the screen, yeah.
so it's it was actually treated as frontage for that retain. Well, the parcel highlighted in blue were identified as retain on the mapping. So essentially what has happened is it's reduced the frontage for parcel A because there's a pond that pretty much encompasses this entire front. And so now they can't gain access to the rear of parcel A. So by converting this little 66-foot strip at the front, it'll be turned into a legal right of way for both the retained parcel and parcel A.
You have a good memory.
remember the names.
So the
Okay,
planner really has no concerns. He just wants to make note when I complete the municipal questionnaire for the county consent granting authority that we identify that there are specific designations on those properties just for future development.
rear lands will require environmental impact study. Okay, so again, moved by Carson Massey, second by Gail Williams, the council recommends acceptance application for Turner. Further comments? All in favor? Carries. That's separate. For all these resolutions, you got separate resolutions for each one.
Oh, I believe Councilor Fancy wanted to speak under COVID.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I have one too. Okay, the announcements first. I'm sorry.
Just quickly, under the umbrella of the CDC Community Development Committee, we've established a broadband work group. And we have 6 members who are very keen and very knowledgeable. So as you'll see in the newsletter, the group is working with other municipalities in Eastern Ontario to advocate for reliable high-speed internet in every household. And they developed a plan, or at the beginning of a plan to help lobby federal and provincial governments to help secure this. I'm only giving Nicole's moment version here, but the first piece is a survey, and we're really trying to promote a survey to be completed by every resident as much as we can. What this survey will do, just if you are asked, if people see it in the newsletter, is it helps pinpoint every household and exactly what their internet service is. So it's really valuable knowledge in the sense that we'll have an idea that, Kingtown Road, this house is getting, upload speed, download speed, etc. And then we'll be able to map it out. So we do have some general maps that we got from the counties, but they're more road specific. These will really help us look at individual households so we can look at where our key issues are.
When I read that newsletter or the draft, it looked like it was looking for people that have internet problems, unless I read it wrong. Because I was in the Philadelphia, and I don't have any problems with internet.
That's good feedback. So if you want me, I guess we should emphasize everyone. We need everyone.
Yeah,
so that we can look at weak spots, but also look at areas where the broadband is working well. Maybe I can use things for that. We've agonized over the wording of that. So, but I think it will be really useful information. We're also looking down the road at collecting and look at lots of unsure people's stories around what lack of reliable internet has done in terms of their access to jobs, school, etc. So.
It says on here, these all those people, the weak spots in their township. Well, see, I'm not a weak spot, so I wouldn't fill it in, but I will go ahead and fill it in.
Okay, so we can put strongly, we can probably change that. Yeah. But anyway, so that's the purpose, and I think it's a really good plan, and it will give us some very specific information as we move forward. So, got a group of very enthusiastic participants, and it's great. It's needed, yeah.
So on the radar for 10 years.
I couldn't download
Oh,
my
it's okay.
package. I had to do it, get it, and cycle, and then set failed, and then failed.
Interesting.
It's frustrating, isn't it?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I pulled. So I couldn't download it.
I did the Facebook the survey that happened, so I did it and it swirled around for about 5 minutes before I could even get on it. I came here and did it from this address, it was like that, and just looking at the speed. But so that's really good information to have as we're
Well, being in the urban center here,
yeah. The city core. Yeah.
You know, tonight I got this computer that the signal was weak
Yeah.
when we first started it, so.
So that's
I'm used to that thing.
Yeah.
That's when my camera goes off, I can stay at home.
well, we did a Maple Leaf Lodge meeting, partly in person and partly virtual last week. And people kept cutting in and out. And then we found out that Bell was having a problem. So we
Bill and tell us, I guess.
they tried to we were fiddling with all the pieces, trying to get it to work, and Westport wasn't coming in, and Athens didn't come in, and then they came in, and it was a mess. But then we find out Bell was having technical difficulties.
Bill and tell us, woke us, I mean, in fact, night tell us. A lot of people are in trouble.
Okay, so anything else, Mark, from that? No?
No.
Okay. The
that's coming.
The only COVID information I have at this point is that I asked Sherry and Greg and Marvin to keep an eye on their budgets, because speaking with MPP Clark last Friday, he told us that there's some funding coming to help municipalities with COVID costs. We're going to 60% upfront and then 40% someday. So you see, when you went through that budget, there's some things that we haven't paid anything for, like well, cost for supplies for the coaches, for example, because it hasn't been open, right? But then the other side of the coin, we haven't received any money for rental for the park, for example, because even though we got
Bag tags. to
Bag tags are
weigh
huge.
on revenues for those.
there's different things. So we went through it, but so we'll have to find out how much. I don't even know how much money that's going to be. I don't know how they're going to calculate it, but we're supposed to be getting something. So I would keep track of it. That's the only thing I have right now of the COVID pieces.
So the rec committee does. So,
Yeah.
So we'll just
Go ahead.
But so Roger and I met with some individuals who had some questions around baseball at the rec park, and I also spoke individually with a third person. So I won't go through all the details. One was around having a league in Mallory Town. Second one was around having a tournament. And the third one was around just allowing a girls group to practice. So Roger consulted the health unit, and we looked at the restrictions around teams. In order for the league to function, it would have to have half the teams it has now, and would have to guarantee that those teams are playing only within their little group. The tournament had some real questions around people entering, exiting, how many people would be there at once. So there was a lot of question marks about the ability to honor the guidelines of the health unit in the province. And I was supposed to get a write-up of how they were going to do that, but I never heard back. So, and then the third was just, can the girls practice? And actually I was very impressed, because this individual had gone to Softball Canada, was sanitizing bats, was taking some real precautions. So took it to rec committee, and we are recommending to council that there be no organized team sports in the recreation park for the 2020 season. But we are also reminding people that the park is open. And they're welcome to use it for practicing as long as the appropriate COVID-19 safety measures are.
Sounds good.
Sure.
So does that include the no tournament?
No tournament.
Okay.
Yeah. Any organ, because that's organized. as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So,
And the tournaments they usually have are,
Well, they're tough, right? And that's a good decision, good recommendation, I think.
yes.
yeah,
Sure.
it was unanimous.
Just
So,
gonna say that.
yeah.
I hate to say no, but I think
This
Yeah.
year, and I think that's the right thing, right choice.
that's just time.
Well,
So-
we're responsible in the end. and
That's correct.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need a motion. We just have to say that council approves of the recommendation from the rec committee?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And you're gonna contact the individuals?
I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good decision. Okay. Anything else under the COVID piece?
You know, your letter that you sent out last week was very good.
That was the last
Yeah,
one. for
I
a
know
while.
it was the
Yeah.
last one. It was very good. Mark.
All right.
Really enjoyed the letters.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Positive response to those.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, it's because you were positive and it
Try to
wasn't all negative.
just try to boost some spirits sometimes.
I'm really
Tough.
curious about this prize in September now.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's 4 times.
I can tell you that. We can tell you.
Yeah, it's
Um,
a surprise.
No, we know, but I just didn't, had to, because this morning, I received another call. It's from the Thousand Islands Fine Arts Association. And they want to move their art show from Maortown Landing to our community center.
They are gonna do that this year.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
That's
couldn't get, it was confirmed this morning by telephone, so it's okay to tell her. Because Sean Tucker was concerned about not all 18 members want to show their art because they're still in the COVID mind. So they have 9, but that's enough. So nine is going to show, but they need some help with setup. So I volunteered. I didn't tell Marvin, but I volunteered Marvin to help set up Thursday afternoon. It's
So
just
he's listening in. He'll know.
good.
You don't have enough to do right now, Mark.
He'll have an extra body in September, and I volunteered the guys to help for a little bit on Thursday afternoon to help us out. They can take down themselves on Sunday, and they just need that. She said, a couple strong bodies to help carry some stuff on Thursday afternoon. The show will run the 18th. It's a Friday, 18th, 19th, and 20th, and they said that they're committed to moving their art show to the village.
That's awesome. And this is September.
September
So Mark
18th.
will have an extra pair of
He'll have
hands.
an extra, that's what I told her. That's what I told her. But I couldn't put it in the newsletter because I had to get confirmation. And she said, as long as we can help get somebody to help set it up, then we're good to go and we'll follow. And I said, when we talked about it previously, it was only allowed 10 bodies indoors. Now we allow 50, but they're not going to do that. They're going to have 4 people. They said, 1 at the door, here are the rules, 1 at the top of the stairs to greet people, and then a couple inside that, and they're going to look after the wash and all
Traffic
stuff.
on and
Yeah, just
that's perfect.
slow, not, they're going to have a big crowd, just monitor the people going in and stuff. So it's going to work. It'll work.
And that's always so well attended, and you get
Yes.
people from all over Eastern Ontario.
And when I talked to them last summer, or no, before the COVID thing, in the spring, we had talked about using the park, Cal Park as well. So I talked to coach house, a couple of people, I saw them on the street, but combining with the socials, strawberry or blueberry or something like that. And they said, no, that won't work because if it rains, then they need the coach house to move the strawberry. I said, that's fair ball. That's a good point. I never thought of that. So, but Sean is looking to use, maybe not those weekends, but if it works on this year, get through the COVID, then next year, look at the park and expanding it on another weekend. So it could be a really good size show.
It's so great. I mean, this isn't really COVID related, but it's related to what you're talking about, getting our community kind of on the map for things. Because I got a call way back from the biosphere. Well, it was just before COVID actually, but the week before, asking if they could host their first ever harvest dinner at our community hall, because part of them has been so supportive of them. And it would have been in this fall, but I mean, it's great to see those. I think we're on the map for it. But those kind of partnerships are so good because has a domino effect. It
I'm
brings in
sure,
lots of-
community active.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure.
Okay, so that was the one to stay tuned for, but I couldn't confirm until this morning.
Larry read it, he said, so what surprised you? You're talking about this, I don't know, like I'm talking to the mayor, what surprised you?
All right. All right. So resolutions. Town of Prescott, let me read them first here. Hope they're in order. Moved by Gail Williams, second by Carson Massey, council support the resolution, Town of Prescott regarding investment in broadband and cellular infrastructure. We wouldn't want to do that, would we? Actually, just, all in favor. Carry. A lot of these are the same thing. Moved by Carson Massey, second by Gail Williams, of council support resolution, Town of Prescott regarding the development of a clear and concise guide for business regarding health and safety measures related to COVID-19. I think Richard said that about 4 months ago.
Yes, would be very, very welcome.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Carried. And I guess in addition to that, you hear that Quebec issued their return to school plans today.
No.
So their plans are all students between grades 5 to university must wear a mask, but not in the classroom. So they consider the classroom as a bubble. So then the Ontario doctors get on and criticize that one. So you're absolutely right, Richard. It's all over the map, and that's why people are confused and upset because we can't get clear. And it just seems like flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah, it's like you're in total chaos all
Yeah,
the time.
and then nobody has
It's starting to affect people.
I think it is.
and nobody, they're one doctor saying one thing, another doctor saying another thing.
And a lot of very stressed parents.
Oh,
Kids.
no kidding. Well, I talked to a teacher yesterday.
Teachers say, I can tell you a few EAs.
Yeah, and
Because they're all talking about the teachers, what the teachers are doing. And nobody's thinking about the EAs and everything they dealt with before COVID.
Yeah.
They still have to work with, now they have to add the COVID stuff.
well, I talked to a kindergarten teacher yesterday who had 32 little ones in her class last year, and she didn't have an EA, and she was changing diapers, and it's not good. And she said, what's going to happen this year is that when cold season comes, for example, and little Johnny or little Susie has a runny nose or a sore throat, and all of a sudden somebody panics and says, oh, we had to shut the school down for quarantine for 14 days. We got to check these guys out.
Yeah, there's a lot more thought in school. It's not only that, but the kids that ride the school bus. I really good at school bus drivers as well.
Yeah, and how does that guy, man or woman driver, control who's wearing a mask in the back of the bus?
Well, not only that,
Or-
we're talking about assigned seating.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I'm talking about children here, and like,
They're
I think
kids.
under enough stress, I think this is just gonna add to it.
It's
People
just,
wanting to make the right decisions.
and then you're not getting accurate information from the doctor.
Confusing.
Confusing, you're right. Okay, so moved by Gail Williams, second by Carson Massey, the council support the resolution of Grey County regarding implementation of broadband. Everybody's on this. As I say, it's been going on and on forever. Moved by Carson Massey, second by Gail Williams, the council support the resolution of the town of Renfrew regarding the investing in Canada infrastructure program. All in favor? Carries. You did it from last week's, right? Or last meeting? There's one in there that didn't support it. From the Labor Council. Moved by Gail Williams, second by Carson Massey, the council support resolution of the city of Sarnia regarding long-term home care improvements. Carrie. Oops. You bet. Moved by Carson Massey, second by Gail Williams, of council support the resolution of the town of Kingsville regarding the rent assistance program. All in favor? Carries. And there's correspondence. The new ones are Sarnia. Oh no, let's do them. Kingsville, yes. So the one with the, from the Labor Council, money's coming, right? So this is a little bit outdated. They asked for money to help with the municipalities with their costs, so that money is coming. And then, when it's particular to us, it talked with us supporting transportation. We don't have any transportation per se, so I think it's a little bit, doesn't really apply to us. This one, have y'all agreed to pass on that one?
Yeah.
There's one from Oshawa for COVID funding.
That's all the municipalities, social culture versus kids.
You know, what that brings to mind to me is our Legion.
Yeah.
Because the current grant opportunity will be for the meeting really doesn't link to what the needs are in those regions. So I don't know.
Okay, so would we agree to support that one?
Yeah.
Richard?
Yeah.
COVID, the city of Oshawa? Okay, you want to do the same and bring that one back for the next one? Okay, so the next one, Seth Glengarry, long-term care homes, inspections. It's basically saying clean it up. So we want to agree to that one?
Yeah.
Owen Sound support emancipation pay. We would support that one. That's a bill. Not pay, day.
Really,
A day.
no, because otherwise there's so many other ones that you could declare a date for.
Okay. You want to, Government of Canada announced January 30th that it would officially recognize United Nations International Decade for people. Okay, so the Heritage of Canada people so made it in their house. August 1st, they want another day.
They want to declare it Emancipation Day.
So it's one on January 30th, not do the same thing? I don't know. The government of Canada's already done that.
It's not, it's recognizing the contribution, the January 30th one.
This one is recognizing the end of slavery, right?
Yeah, the Declaration of the End of Slavery.
No, I would support that one.
Yeah, I would too.
I heard you saying, Gail, let them be above our pay grade.
Yeah, I suppose.
Make that decision. But I think Richard, do you support that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Carson. Okay. Yeah, we support that one. All right. And what are the next ones? Oh well, yeah.
You're not being told, you're not being asked, you're being told.
Yeah.
To make a decision. Yeah. Okay. That's the end of correspondence. And again, any questions from the public, or if there's any media listening in, can contact Jennifer and she'll get those answers to you from questions about this meeting. There is no in camera. So moved by Gail Williams, second by Carson Massey, the council adjourned to meet again on September 8th, 2020 for the regular meeting of council at 6 p.m. or the call of the mayor. All in favor? Carries. Okay,
We will be here for that meeting.
Richard, yeah, we'll be here for that meeting. Sorry the wires got crossed there. I guess we didn't.
Yeah, because my agenda said electronic meeting. Oh,
Oh, mine does too. Yeah, I didn't look at
It's
that.
half electronic.
so I looked at the agenda and I says, oh, it's an electronic meeting.
I didn't see that. I just looked at it myself. Yeah.
So,
Okay, well, we got the wires crossed there, but
but I did gain valuable insight into not being there in the council chamber and joining remotely, and it sucks.
Really? Yeah.
I could hardly hear a lot of what you said. Now, maybe that's good. I don't know. But, you know, like,
No.
it just disappeared. Like every time somebody turned their head, you just disappeared. I didn't hear a word you said.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Me?
No,
Oh.
you were pretty clear most of the time. But like
Okay.
Carson or Margaret, Gail, well, Gail, you got a high pitched voice, but you know, if you turned your head, I didn't hear a word of what you said.
Okay, so you got to be facing your screen. That's where the microphone is.
Yeah.
We're only using your microphone.
We're
Everybody
all
else is,
muted.
everybody else is muted.
So we
So it's
have
all
to-
mic.
It's all through your system. That's why you're here. We're not.
We're all, yeah, we're all muted.
What about
so
that one there? That's
we
mic.
just have to-
So there's no
So
sound.
I can only have sympathy for the public trying to understand and hear what's going on.
Yeah.
It doesn't work very well.
Okay.
Okay. My
Try
two
better
cents.
next time.
No, not, that's more than 2 cents worth. That's good. That's good to know. 'Cause that microphone should be working. We got a microphone set up here in the middle of the room with a sound
Yeah.
system from the community center.
And I can
The
pretty sure it's on.
the microphone is on and the
See, I could hear some, a bit of echo there, so I knew it was on.
yeah.
From time to time, there was echo. It's really hard to know how to gauge your.
We do the
voice.
best we can.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Could you see, Margaret? I just didn't hear a word you said. Okay.
There's
I know you were talking because I saw your lips moving, but I didn't hear a word that you said.
Okay.
a song
Can you
about
hear
that.
it Now, well, I can move the computer closer. We're just talking about.
We're talking about you, Richard.
I didn't want you to hear that.
Not so, not so.
Okay. Anyways, it was interesting.
All right.
Well, no, it's true.
That's good. That's good to know. All righty.
Good night, Richard.
All right.
Good night, all,
Good
everyone.
night.
Bye. Everyone have a nice evening.
We did, we already
Thank
did.
you.